Welcome to the channel. My name is Patrick, and this is part 8 of the Diving the Swift UI tutorial from Apple, and we are going to be handling user input today. Now, I must admit I've already gone through this part of the tutorial due to some technical difficulties, but I'll walk you through the code and show you what's going on. So let us begin. In section 1, we mark the user's favorite landmarks. So begin enhancing the list to show the users their favorites at a glance. Add a star to each landmark that shows a favorite landmark. So step 1, we're going to open up landmark row.swift. That's what we have open. Let's go ahead and close this, slide this out, give it a little bit more space to breathe. Step 2, after the spacer, add a star image inside an if statement to test whether the current landmark is a favorite. In SwiftUI blocks, you use the if statements to conditionally include views. So right here, we have our if statement. If landmark is favorite, we're going to use the system image, which comes from the SF symbols package that comes, or you can download and check out. We add a modifier, image scale to .medium, and in step 3, we add a color, the foreground color of yellow. Because these are vector-based images, they can be modified and changed with regular modifiers that we include in SwiftUI. Section 2 is that we filter the list. You can customize the list view so that it shows all the landmarks or just the user's favorites. To do this, you'll need to add a bit of state to the landmark list type. State is a value or a set of values that change over time, and the effects of views, behavior, content, or layout. You use a property with the addState attribute to add state to a view. All right, we're gonna go into our landmarks list, slide that bad boy out. And here's our state property with our var show favorites only. Now in the code, it says false, but later on it has to be set to true. So, or the initial value has to be set to true, pardon me. Refresh the canvas. Well, our canvas isn't working, but I believe that in the next section that's going to change because we're going to be changing some of the user data. So in step 3, we'll filter the list by checking to show favorites only property and each landmark is favorite value. So down here, we have our if statement right here, and it says if not self.show favorites only or landmark is favorite, we're going to do the landmark navigation button. 3. Now this display mode right here, this comes from the end of, this comes from the project itself or the completed project. So disregard that. That's not in the actual step. As you can see, it says navigation bar title right here, landmarks. All right, we have our if statement. Add a control to toggle the state and give the user control over the list filter. You need to add a control that can alter the value and show favorites. You do this by passing a binding to a toggle. A binding acts as a reference to a mutable state. When the user taps the toggle off to on and off again, the control uses binding to update the view state accordingly. So step 1 is create a nested for each group to transform the landmarks into rows. So in our list, we'll have a for each, put our if statement in it and our navigation button. Step 2, we'll add a toggle to our view as the first child in our list by passing a binding to show favorites only. So here's our toggle. We're binding it to show favorites only. And then we set, okay, we did set our show favorites only to true and the text favorites only. Step 3, live preview. We'll try out this new functionality by tapping the toggle. Now, unfortunately, I'm having errors. Unable to infer complex closure return type. Add explicit type to disambiguate. And I believe that right now, before we go into the next section, that this will be all cleared up once we start getting into the user data, which is the bindable object storage. With that being said, that'll be in our next video. So right now we're showing our favorites, and in the next section that should complete the whole user interaction. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, one, Xcode is not behaving properly, which will be cleared up in the next section. Two, OBS is not still not up to par with macOS Catalina, so we've had to re-record some of the videos, but that'll be taken care of as well, I'm sure, in due time. So stick with us. This is part 8. Part 9 will be coming here shortly. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.